Good evening, all of you. Welcome, and it's good to see you all. And so today we are going to have a session on amphibians of Western Ghats or the frogs of Western Ghats. I'm not going to touch the Sicilian part. So I done this talk for some other few uh, groups for 2-3 times. So quite a few guys must have already heard this talk. So please bear with me. And let me switch off my video so you'll have better bandwidth. Okay, so like I say, this is all started around 15 years back when uh, when I went to a place called Kakem Wildlife Sanctuary or the Malabar Wildlife Sanctuary in Kerala. So we were interested in butterflies, we were interested in dragonflies. So we've been studying all those things. And Dr. Jafar Pollard called me and said, David, would you like to come and join for a amphibian survey headed by Dr. Anil Sakaria? So Anil Sakaria is a guy who's been studying frogs for almost 30 years now. So he was conducting that almost 15 years back. So me and my friend Pradeep Aimanam, so both of us got into a bike and drive almost 500 kilometers from Kottayam to Calicut. From there we went to uh, this Malabar Wildlife Sanctuary. So we spent 2 nights there. So it was interesting because that was the first our experience for the to look out for amphibians, because uh, we didn't know much about amphibians, and that's the first time we were going out to catch frogs or trying to study them. So we were around, I think around 15 people were there, including Satyan Nepal was there, Jafar Palat was there, and few other guys. So the thing is, quite a few of us had torches with us. So we used to, I mean, we went out at night and start searching for the frogs. So then that night we realized, actually, if you want to see the frogs in Western Ghats, you have to go out and flash your torch. You have to hear. I mean, in the daytime, if you want to find some frogs, even in your garden or some other places itself, you may not able to see, or you may not able to find any frogs there. So the best way to find frogs, you go out at night, listen to the call, especially in the monsoon time or pre-monsoon time. Whenever they call, try to flash the torch and try to locate them. That's the way you can actually find these frogs. So we were finding a lot of frogs, a lot of bush frogs, and Dr. Anil Sakaria mentioned there's a new frog being discovered. I mean, almost 15 years back, which is called the miniature night frog. That's the frog which you are seeing the uh, below the miniature night frog, and that was calling right in front of our us from a rock, a wet rocks. So Dr. Anil said, "Yeah, that's a frog. I mean, you guys should try to find it. It's the smallest frog in India. It's very tiny, but try to locate it." So we were 15 of us. Everyone had small torches. We were flashing our torches, but we could hear this thing calling. It was like a tiny grasshopper sound. So we were flashing our torches, and again we were trying, but nothing happened. I mean, we couldn't find it because it was so tiny. None of us could find it. So after half an hour, we left the place. We said, "Let's go and try to find other frogs." So we were getting a lot of other frogs also. So then later we entered the forest. There was a lot of reed patch. There we started hearing a frog, which is it was coming from the reed, Aucklandray reeds. So, and Dr. Anil said, "Yeah, that could be something interesting. He never heard that frog. That could be a new species to science also." So we started searching there in the reed, but we couldn't find it. So that is later Dr. Gururaja and team had discovered this frog and described as a Aucklandray reed frog. So that is the top one. So that was my introduction to the frog. So after that, we started going. I mean, I spent a lot of time with Dr. Anil, and we started studying frogs. So this is what some of the frogs we discovered and described. So our team almost discovered around 14 frogs, 1, 4, and a few interesting behaviors, breeding behaviors. These are all we discovered. So this is all headed by Dr. Anil. He is a veterinary surgeon in Wayanad, and we are all we are not scientists. I mean, like Dr. Anil Sakare is a veterinary surgeon. I work as a naturalist. We have another team member. Ram Prasad Rao. He's a naturalist from from Karnataka, another guy, Vaishnav from Wayanad, another person, Jobin, he's a tea estate manager in Wayanad. And so we have another person also, Robin Kurian Abraham. He's the only guy who actually do a proper scientific study. He's now studying he's doing his research in Kansas University in US. So this is our team. So interestingly, we don't get paid. We don't get any funding for all those things. So we actually put money from our pocket and we drive around, we search all over the place. We travel around in Kerala and we try to study all these frogs. So it's all ultimately, it's what do you say? It's out of interest. Yes. So, so we done a lot of things. So what I wanted to mention. So if you want to study something or if you want to pursue something, you don't need to have to be uh, uh, a scientist to do all those things. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so this is Western Ghats. So Western Ghats, it's actually a global hotspot for amphibians. I mean, it's almost it's from Kanyakumari till its extent up to Gujarat. It's a chain of hills there, and around 234 species being discovered from these mountains. And out of that, around 80%, 84% are endemic. I mean, found only here, nowhere else in the world. It's one of the global hotspots in the world. Also, there's a lot of species yet to be discovered. I mean, people are describing species every 2-3 months. So this is a small introduction of amphibians. So amphibians are they can live in the water and in the land also. So they are actually divided into 3 different groups in India. So the first one, what you see, that is the Sicilians. It's a legless amphibians. And second one is the frogs and toads. I mean, frogs can actually got very powerful hind limbs, so they can jump. And the newts and salamanders. So in India, we have only one species of newts up in Himalayas. That's Himalayan newts. I mean, recent studies, I think there is one more species. So technically, there are 2 species of Himalayan newts. So, I mean, around 8,151 amphibian species in the worldwide around. Out of that, 7,197 species are frogs and toads. Just move to the next slide. So frogs are actually evolved from the fish. So from the fin to foot, they actually evolved. So it happened around 360 million years ago. So this is a typical life cycle of a frog. Frogs lay eggs and it's become a tadpole and it's become a froglet and it's become eventually a adult frog. So the thing is, all the frogs, I mean, because they evolved from water, and their breeding cycle also related to the water. So around 90 or 98 or 99% of all the frogs to breed, they have to go back to the water. So, I mean, if you notice, that's why even in monsoon or pre-monsoon time, all over India or any place, wherever you are in India or in Western Ghats, you'll see this hundreds of frogs are calling around you. Sometimes in if you are in a drier place also, if it's a water puddle, there are lots of frogs will be coming out and making too much of noise. So they're all breeding there. So these are the small between a frog and a toad. So frogs are actually dry and warty skin, and frogs are actually got a wet and moist skin. So let me explain here the second slide here. Can you see my cursor? Also, so all this black thing, what you see, these are all warts, and they got a dry skin under this dry warty skin, and also they got a parotid gland here. This gland, what you see, this is for the toads. So this is actually to a kind of, they keep a kind of a bit of poison. It's like a milky substance which comes out if you start handling these frogs or toads. And if a frog, I mean, if a dog or a small bird try to eat this toad, I mean, it can kill the dog. I mean, it got a bit poison. So there are quite a few snakes also which evolved and into such a way that they actually exclusively feed on this kind of toads, and they'll collect this poison into their nuchal glands, and it's use it as a defensive mechanism. And but look at the picture below. This is actually a frog skin. It's actually a wet and it's a moist skin. So these are the two difference. You can easily differentiate between a frog and a toad. Okay, Other thing, once you have to remember, I mean, I put up all these four pictures here, and you can see all this large thing coming out from their mouth. So these are all vocal sacs of the frog. So all the frogs, when the males actually call. 99% all the frogs, only the males make calls. Females don't make any sound. So all of them got different types of vocal sacs. So look at this green frog. This is actually a Jairam's bush frogs. It's actually usually sit on a leaf and call out, and they are loud sound. So they actually resonate the sound because of help of this vocal sac. And this is a burrowing frog. Look at that. It's actually the vocals are coming out from both sides. This is actually a marbled balloon frog, which actually it's a burrowing frog which comes out in heavy monsoon time. So look at the vocal sac. So these actually produce a different kind of sound. One second. Okay, so this is like a painted frog. Painted frog actually got a large vocal sac, so that's why it's one of the loudest frog in India. Okay, let's move to the slide. So in Western Ghats, we have a different variety of habitat. I mean, we have grasslands, we have evergreen forest, we have tall trees with a lot of moss. I mean, just take this tree as an example here. So imagine in evergreen Western Ghats forest, there could be frogs living on the top of the trees there. There are frogs there, on like some of the bush frogs, and on the bark there could be some species, adapted to live there, and there could be some frogs in the leaf layers. So all these frogs are adapted to all these different habitats. So the frog diversification along with the evolution of rainforest and grassland. So all this evolution of the rainforest and grassland, which actually helped the frogs. So they actually evolved. And okay, look at this frog. It's actually one second. This we will take the questions later. I think some questions are coming in the chat box or something. So I think at the end of this session, we'll take the question. Okay, look at this frog here. It's actually very well camouflaged, sitting on a bark of a tree. It's got a nice brownish color and olive green back. It's very well camouflaged. So look at that. It's sitting on a mow. So this frog actually lives on the top of the canopy. So it's called the water drop frog, Raworchestus neurostegona. Interestingly, we've been hearing this frog a lot of time. I remember when I used to started observing frogs, the first I think first 7-8 years I never able to see this frog. I remember whenever I go to Wayanad, I used to speak to Dr. Anil Zakaria sir. So I said, sir, I have to see this frog. This is very interesting. So where can I see? So, but this frog actually, you will never see it in the jungle, because imagine if you have a bucket of water under a tap, a half-open tap, the sound which comes out, this frog calls like that. Let me try to play that sound. Can you all hear it? Did you all hear that sound? So that was. Oh, no one could hear it. Let me play again. I can hear it. Can you all hear it now? Okay. So probably I don't use the. Okay, I'll play again one more time. Okay, so I hope all of you heard that sound. That's actually a sound of a canopy bush frog, or the water drop frog. Uh, yes, everyone heard it. So this frog actually lives on the top of the tree. You will never able to see it unless you are really lucky. Sometimes they do come on the lower branches and all. I still remember this is when I went to in Wayanad in Anil Sakriya's house. So one day I told him, sir, I have to see this frog. So he said, okay. After dinner, we went to another person's house. We literally, he told me, we started hearing this frog. It was probably 20, 30 feet up on a tree. He said, climb the tree and stay there for some time. So we started, I climbed the tree, I stayed there for some time. Then I could hear the frog calling from a branch. So then I waited there for probably 10, 15 minutes. Then eventually I literally managed to catch that frog. Then I managed to photograph it. So that's the way this frog, you will, if you want to study or if you want to see this frog, it's almost impossible. So that's what this is a special frog. And let me move to the next one. Okay, so I mentioned, so all these frogs, they have to go back to the water to breathe. So imagine a frog which lives on the top of the tree. Where is the water? There's no water. So how do these frogs breed? So what happened? These frogs actually have a direct breeding strategy. So they have a direct development. So these frogs actually lay eggs in the among the moss on the top of the tree canopy, and there's no tadpole stage. So once they lay eggs, the frogs actually hatch out from that. So that's why all the bush frogs in Western Ghat, we have around over 50 species of bush frogs. And so all of them have a direct breeding strategy, I mean, direct development. So what happened from June onwards, probably from mid-May onwards, there's a lot of rain in Western Ghat. So when there is raining all over, so you don't need to have any water there because there's moisture all over there in the air. So and all over the trees there will be wet leaves there. So all these frogs, they'll just lay eggs on the moss or on the leaf. They will start breeding. So that 2-3 months, June, July. So all these frogs will be breeding. So and after a few years before, me and my friend Ansil, he's studying in now NCBS. I mean, two of us went to study some of the frogs. I mean, Dr. Anil sent us to Agasthyamale Hills. So we were staying in one of the rest houses there. We had permission to collect the specimens and all from Forest Department, and we were trying to look for frogs at night. So we went out at night, and suddenly we started hearing the frog, the kind of a water drop frog, like you all heard that frog, no? So almost the ditto sound, same sound. This water drop frog is calling from a bark of a tree. So I was super excited. I told Ansel, hey, there's a frog calling from the water, I mean from the bark. Usually it is found on the top of the tree. We are happy to see, we are lucky. So we took some pictures like what you see, it's actually calling from the bark. So that tree was full of moss. Among the moss that it was, the frog was sitting and it was calling. So we took photos. Then later we realized we searched that tree thoroughly. Then we realized there was another frog, a green frog, which is hiding under the moss. So that was actually a female. So we caught these frogs and we took photos and we went back to Wayanad. And when we showed this species to Dr. Anil, he literally shouted at me. And he was like, "Hey boys, how many years you been with us? You don't know what is the difference of a water drop frog and other frogs." We told him, "Sir, this was exactly the sound was like a water drop frog. That's why we thought it's." He said, "No, it is not a water drop frog. It's something else. Not a." Then we realized it's actually most of the water drop frog actually got some webbing on there, both the hand and leg. But this was which is lacking, and later we realized this is actually a new species to science. So we describe this as a Raworchestus crustae. Crustae means it actually stays on the bark. So this was an amazing thing. Then we realized even people who the sound also very similar. People can mistake identifying the frogs. Okay, so then there is another species of bush frog, which is a variable bush frog. It's called Raworchestus acropalragi. They actually stays on the mid canopy of the tree. Imagine the tree, if there is a 50 feet high. So these frogs may not go on the top, but the canopy frogs, like the water drop frog, will be staying on the top of the tree. But this one will be on the mid canopy and it will be laying eggs like this. These are pictures by Dr. Anil Zakaria. Most of the pictures I've been showing, all the breeding behaviors and all, Anil Zakaria's photo. So this is actually stay in the mid canopy. So this frog widely distributed in Western Ghats, especially in Kerala side and all, where you may find from sea level to till 600 to 700 meters up above sea level. And it's a widely distributed. It comes in different colors and different morphs. That's why it's called the variable bush frog. Okay, we have some another interesting frogs in bush frogs in Western Ghats. These are called the reed frogs. Okay, so the bamboo, what you see here, these reeds, it's actually called the Aucklandray reed frog. In Western Ghats, we have I think around 10 to 15 varieties of Aucklandray reeds. So all this actually holds a variety of frogs. So look at that. There is there's on that bamboo. Can you see a small slit there? So these are natural slits. So all these frogs, even most of these reed frogs, what they do, they actually get inside and they lay eggs inside, and the males are known to guard eggs. So this is amazing breeding behavior. I mean, then we realize, I mean, there's a lot of reed frogs in Western Ghats, and I remember one of our friend told me this story also. Once he was in Trivandrum city, he was waiting there. I mean, it started raining in monsoon time, and people used to cut all these reeds to make for paper mills. So there was a lorry was going with full of these reeds, and suddenly it started raining. So all the frogs, they were all inside the reeds and all these thin slits inside. So all these frogs started calling all over. I mean, so imagine these frogs were in the middle of city, Trivandrum city, and they were calling out. They thought it started raining. They didn't realize they've been actually, they already, they cut down these reeds and they taken into some factory to make paper, but the frogs, I mean, eventually they all die. So we've been suggesting to the forest department, we need to have proper protection for all this, even the reed beds, even in the forested area, when you cut it, I mean, you shouldn't be cutting all these reeds. So that's actually a male sitting in the reed. That's a Chalassoda's bush frog, and a Manohari's bush frog. All these are reed frogs. So, and in Western Ghats, we have another kind of habitat. We have a high altitude grasslands. I mean, so what you see in the picture here, these are all high altitude grassland, and there are some sholas also. So in these sholas, there are quite a few frogs are found there, but in the grasslands also there are quite a few frogs. Few frogs are adapted to live in these kind of high altitude grasslands. So especially Seshachar's bush frog and Nilgiri bush frogs. These frogs are actually found only in grasslands. So, I mean, if you want to convert any grassland into a forest, eventually these two frogs are going to extinct eventually. So, Seshachar's bush frog mainly found in North of Palghat Gap. I mean, even the Nilgiri bush frog also found in North of Palghat Gap. Again, we have another exciting species of frog. It's called the resplendent bush frog. It's found only in a few hills in Munnar region. And it's probably the one frog which found on the top of the peaks, like over 2,000 meters. I think we've seen it from 1,600, 800 onwards. And it's found on the top of the peaks, like Anamudi Peak, 2,600 meters. So interestingly, if you look carefully, this frog actually got a lot of micro glands on the belly all over the body, which actually help them to get away from all this cold climate, heavy wind in this habitat, in this grassland. And we've been observing all this behavior, and there is, let me go to another frog also. So another frog which found in the Raworcestus montanus, I mean Rawo's bush frog, which found only in the top of Kudemuk peak. This is probably, these are the two frogs it's going to extinct, especially this frog from Kudemuk peak. It's only probably less than 500 or 600 what we could observe there. Only on the top of the peak, nowhere else in the world. And due to the global warming, the temperature is rising. All these frogs are going up. I mean, they're climbing into the hills. So we think if there's a temperature increase of 1 or 2 degrees more, I mean, entire population of this frog can go. I mean, they are hardly probably few hundreds of thousands left in the wild, and only on the top of the peak. So check out for these two frogs. I mean, they may be the first two frogs that are going to extinct from India. They are very pretty frogs also. Okay, this is a very another interesting frog. Anil's bush frogs, Raworcestus anili. It's widely distributed in Western Ghats, especially in southern Western Ghats. In Wayanad region, it's pretty common, and it's there in southern Western Ghats also. It's there in Ponmudi. In the Ponmudi region, you'll see slightly larger version of this frog. I mean, slightly bigger and much darker. It's there in Coorg. It's widely distribution. It's interestingly, this is named after my frog guru, Dr. Anil Sekaria. So whenever we go to his house in Wayanad in Kalpetta, so this frog is very common there. It's around all over his house. So it's funny when we sit there and we may be sitting there the whole day, and night also we just may go out and look for frogs and all. So his wife, Dr. Anil's wife, Dr. Tara, she usually tell us, "Hey, David, look at this. This Dr. Anil won't give a single minute. He'll be disturbing the whole day. At night, the moment it start getting dark, the frogs, Anil's bush frogs, will be started calling outside my window. Both of them will be giving a hard time for me. So I don't know how to survive in this house. I mean, it's funny. All these frogs are all over there in his house. It's like literally like a frog paradise. Okay, there is another frog which is called Kaikati bush frog, which is found in Nelliyambati Hills. It's one of the globally threatened species, which is there's only a few globally threatened species in Western Ghats. So this is one of that, and extremely rare to see. It's a very similar looking to Anil's bush frog, and nothing known much about these frogs. I mean, it's only in a small patch of areas in Nelliyambati Hills. Few years back, we done a study in Silent Valley. There, we found two species of frogs which was new to science. Excuse me. So interestingly, Silent Valley actually one of the finest primary forest still left in India. It's one of the pristine forests. It's why I put up a picture of a lion-tailed macaque on the top. In 1973, there was a big agitation happened in Silent Valley. The Kerala government, the electricity board wanted to make a big dam across the Kundi River. There's a river there in the middle of Silent Valley National Park. They want to make a big hydroelectric project and big dam there. So all these people, I mean, Kerala Shastra Sahitya Parishad and some other NGOs all got in. They started agitation. It was a big moment in Kerala. So I mean, people. On the year in 1985 as a national park. And okay, can you all hear me? I just went out.
Yes.
Okay, okay, sir. 1 second. I think I should start sharing the screen again. A bit weak. Is it? Can you all see this?
Yes, we can see. But your sound has gone.
Okay. Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I was talking about this the line impact. So people people started asking the question. Electricity asking for. They wanted.
Again went off.
Is it? Hello. Sir, can you hear me? Can you all hear me now? Hello.
Yes, I can hear. We can hear.
Okay, shall I start sharing the screen? Can you all see the screen now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sorry for there's some network problem here. So can you all switch off your videos? Those who are using your videos, switch off your videos. To the chat box and see if it's audible. Can you all hear me? Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is the story of one of the finest example of actually citizens can actually uh, 1 second. Citizens can actually support the nature and they can actually help to protect the nature. Okay, so we done some studies later that went to that Silent Valley National Park. We done survey, so we found 2 frogs new to science. So this one, what you see here, that is we named after Silent Valley National Park, and another one is the Lechia, the brown one, what you see the below there to the right, that is the Ravarchestus Lechia. So Silent Valley, Ravarchestus Silent Valley is named after Silent Valley National Park. The Lechia is named after one of the tribal tracker which took all the scientists and all the people and showed the forest, and he was one of the finest tracker in Silent Valley too. So just to remember his name, we named after that these frogs. Okay, so there are a lot of beautiful, colorful looking all these bush frogs. We have around over 50 species of bush frogs in Western Ghats. So these are some of it. This is, I mean, I didn't put all the names. This is Ravarchestus flaviventris. This is Uttamani. This is Ravarchestus indigo, Ravarchestus johnsy here. In the middle, Ravarchestus chlorosoma. It's a green-eyed frog. Then Ravi. This is Glandulosus. This is Munar bush frog. This is Chota. So this frog, the bottom right below, is the smallest bush frog in India. Ravarchestus Chota. And this is a Glandulosus, Flaviocularis. This is Kaikati, Luteolus, Travancoricus. See, these 2 frogs are very similar looking one. So this is Travancoricus, this is Luteolus, and the one below is the Signatus. So all these frogs, there are over 50 species of bush frogs found in Western Ghats, widely distributed, beautiful. Few are restricted to in particular patches. Some are widely distributed. And we also have some false bush frogs. There are 3 species in Western Ghats. This one, Pseudophylatus carni, it's found only in parts of Ponmudi Hills and Agasthimalaya regions. And Pseudophylatus wynardens is widely distributed across Kerala. And so the difference is usually this Pseudophylatus got a large tympanum. I mean, that's the only visual difference from the other true bush frogs. So this is another Amboli bush frog, this Pseudophylatus amboli. So this also got a large tympanum. Okay, so there is another two interesting frog which found in northern Western Ghats. This is Bombay bush frog, which widely distributed in northern Western Ghats and southern Western Ghats also. I think it's found till up to Mangalore, this Bombay bush frog. But Ghati bush frog, this is Avorchestus ghati, which found in I think in parts of Satara and all those areas. I don't know the exact difference to differentiate between these two frogs, and also it's what do you say? It's restricted to those northern Western Ghats. We have another set group of frogs. These are gliding frogs. So like the bush frogs, they stays on the trees or bushes. So they have a direct development when they lay eggs. So eventually it become a not tadpole stage. But all this, we have some gliding frogs. They also lives on the trees. So, but to breed, they have to come back to the water, wherever the water sources. So that's why they glide from tree to tree. So they have this beautiful web feet. So we have four species of four species of gliding frogs in Western Ghats. So this is the most common gliding frog, Malabar gliding frog, found throughout Western Ghats from I think from Amboli till it's there in from Trivandrum side. So it's widely distributed. But this frog to the right, the false gliding frog, which is found in Munnar regions and probably south of Palghat Gap. So especially Munnar and Agasthyamala and all, you'll get to see this false gliding frog. And we have another winged gliding frog, Rhacophorus lateralis, which is restricted to north of Palghat Gap. So that means it's found in Wayanad region and Coorg and all. So it don't have a wider distribution. And also among all these four gliding frog, this is the smallest gliding frog in Western Ghats. And there's a Kalakkad gliding frog, which is also found in southern Western Ghats, especially in Agasthyamala region. It's there in Periyar Tiger Reserve. It's there in Munnar region. And yeah, so these are the four species. And we have another genus of frogs. I mean, they are called the Polypedatus or the tree frogs. So we have two species. I mean, in paper there are three. I mean, like the Western Polypedatus, Pseudocrossicus Polypedatus, then Occidentalis they say. But some of our studies reveal that all this, the Western, the Polypedatus, Pseudocrossicus and Occidentalis is actually the same species. And so interestingly, the Western tree frog, how can you identify? So if you look at it on the back of this frog, it's actually, you can see a hourglass mark. So that's why you can easily, and it's got a very pointed snout compared to the common tree frog. Common tree frog also found in throughout Western Ghats, and there's no hourglass mark, and it's more prefer more drier areas and all. So the common tree frog and Western tree frog prefer more moist area. We also have some high altitude tree frogs. It's called the Gathalus, where in probably about 600 or 800 meters, sometimes up to 1,000 meters above. There are fast flowing streams in Western Ghats. If you go to Munnar or if you go to Wayanad or in Nilgiris and all, so all these frogs are found. So there are three species. This is Gattisalus astrops, which has got a very beautiful eyes. Look at this. And this is found in south of Palghat Gap, mainly in Munnar regions and all those areas. And Gattisalus variabilis, which found in Nilgiris. It's not found, and Wayanad also we've seen this Gattisalus variabilis. And a few years ago, we discovered a frog which is Gattisalus magnus. This is the largest rhacophorid in the family. So when we are doing this surveys in Munnar region, then we come across this large frogs, and we named it as a Gattisalus magnus. Look at the tadpoles. It's the lower one. This one is the magnus tadpole. Okay, we have a very interesting habitat in Western Ghats, especially in southern Western Ghats. It's called the Myristica swamps. So these are kind of nutmeg trees where the trees are only in small patches left in southern part of Kerala. It's a few patches left in northern Kerala also. I think it's there in Karnataka also, and it's a special ecosystem. And so that's the place we done some studies in. So we found a very interesting frog there. Go to the next slide. Okay, so we found a very interesting frog. It's called the Myristica swamp frog. So this frog actually restricted to southern Kerala. It's found only in a small patch of forest. Interestingly, this frog it's a pre-monsoon breeder. I'm sure it must have already finished breeding this year. So what happened? The Myristica swamp forest. Hundreds of this frog. This is the male on the top, and the female it's one of the prettiest frog in Western Ghats. It's green in color with some black dots on the belly and bluish eyes and all. So all these hundreds of frogs will gather in pre-monsoon in the mid-May and all, and they'll start calling for the females. So what happens there? Imagine a forest with a dry forest, a dry lowland evergreen forest, a Myristica forest. There's no water there, and all these frogs actually comes out in pre-monsoon time. They'll start breeding, and it'll be 1 or 2 showers. They'll be start raining those days. So these frogs will come out. They'll breed. So females usually stays on the trees. That's why they are green in color. They are, and the snout is very much pointed. And I saw at least few hundreds of them around. So we when we done the study, we realized it's actually a new species to science, a new genus also. Okay, this is the male and female picture. Look at this. So this is the male on the top, the female below. It's actually got a very pointed snout. So what happens in breeding time? So female comes out and the male holds the female, and they'll goes into the leaf litters, into the ground, and they'll start digging and they lay eggs there. So before that, there's a lot of commotion happened. I mean, I could observe a lot of males were fighting there. I mean, they literally fight for the female. We could see them. It's like two wrestlers fighting. Look at that. One was trying to literally pull down. So this is the clutch of eggs. What you can see here with it's mixed up with the mud, and there was no water there. So, but the eggs could hold because there was a bit of moisture in the air. But when we went to that areas after a week or two, it was all flooded because these frogs actually could predict the rain. So, and also that's why they breed in pre-monsoon. They know that it's monsoon is going to come, so they'll come out probably for a few days in a year. They come out, lay eggs, mix with them lay eggs there, mix with the mud, and eventually it become the tadpoles, and they'll hatch out and they'll survive. So all the adult frog will disappear from there. This was a paper. So I mean, I still remember that day when we were doing the survey there. Suddenly, it was actually an elephant-infested area. So we have to be careful while looking for frogs and all. So I still remember suddenly I started hearing some sound to the left. So I was like, oh no, don't tell me it could be an elephant or something. So when I flashed my torch, I could see 2 eyes. I mean, when I approached there, I could actually see a mouse deer sitting down there. I mean, quietly, it was not moving. So I took out my camera, put my diffuser in my flash, I took a few pictures and left it there only. It was amazing. I mean, these are the few, perks when you work in the jungle. Okay, there is another interesting frog which found in foothills of Munnar region. It's called Cuddler swamp frog or Bidomyxalus bijuvi. This is also we discovered a monotypic genus. I mean, monotypic genus means in that genus only one frog is found. This is the male, and the one which below the more reddish brown color, that's a female. This is also a pre-monsoon breeder which comes out. It breeds like unlike the Myristica swamp frog, this frog actually lay eggs on the leaf. I mean, the hanging leaves and all. They attach like a tree frog, a proper tree frog. They lay eggs there. Eventually, once it starts raining, the eggs will hatch out and fall into the water. So we still remember this when we were studying there, and we saw hundreds of frogs there around a pool. They were all calling. First, when we saw this could be some other frogs, then we realized it's actually a new species. So this is named after one of the person, Dr. S.D. Biju, who has been studying frogs in India, in Western Ghats for quite a few years. So to honor him, we named this frog after him. Okay. Not able to play some sound. I don't know what happened. Okay, we have another very unique frog in Western Ghats. So this is called the purple frog or the pig-nosed frog, Nasica batrachus sahyadriensis, described in 2003, very recent. This is a very unique frog which comes out again in pre-monsoon time. Literally hundreds of them comes out. They breeds in this kind of small waterfall and all. In Idukki and if you go to any foothills of Munnar regions, and it's there in foothills of Agastyamalai region. And these frogs will come out in pre-monsoon. They breed and disappears. They lay eggs in these small rock pools and all. Eventually, once the tadpole hatch out, they actually climb into this kind of waterfall. They stick to this waterfall. So I remember I've been hearing all these stories from Dr. Anil. He used to make trips every year. So after when it described in 2003, he wanted to find out how do they breed. So he done almost probably every year. He used to in pre-monsoon. He used to go there and find out. But by the time they reach there, it'll come out for a day or two and then disappear. So he never able to see the actual breeding. Then he again he went got the tadpoles. Then another person, our friend Sandeep, he recorded this along with Jobin. He also in Thrissur they found out they actually breeds there. So it's a very interesting frog. Okay, let me go. It is actually the closest relative of these frogs lives in Seychelles in close to Africa, and the Sugolus family, the closest relative in India and Africa, was part of one continent. This frog was used to live. So the ancestral lineage is spread from Sugolus. And interestingly, Dr. Anil and team had discovered the entire breeding behavior of this frog. That's one of his interesting stuff. He wanted to study all the breeding behavior. He's been documenting over, I think, documented over 100 species of 100 or 150 species breeding behavior in Western Ghats. So when we were studying all those things there, so interestingly, all the local people knew about this frog. That is a funny thing. So they used to catch this frog sometimes because hundreds of them comes out in monsoon time. They'll come out in pre-monsoon and they breed. And they call the local name in Kerala, it's called Patal, because they actually goes underground and they'll come out only in pre-monsoon time. And also this is one frog, the male and female also the call, and the male and female also got different names for the people. It's interesting. Local people knew about this frog, and the male they call it Kuruvan, and the female they call it Korti. So they have a separate name for these frogs. So this is a very unique frog, purple frog. Okay, and next moving into another interesting family of frog. These are called the night frogs, the Nyctibatrachus, endemic to Western Ghats region. It's widely distributed wherever. If you go to any streams, I remember if you've been to Munnar in monsoon time, especially if you stays out, if you go out at night into a streams or something, then you start hearing a small frog calls like a cat. So that's why the top frog, mewing night frog, Nyctibatrachus pucha. It's the scientific name pucha means it's actually mimic a local house cat. And another frog, the Wayanad night frog, the below, Nyctibatrachus grandis, the call sounds like a woodpecker pecking. Okay, so most of these frogs, night frogs, the males are known to guard its eggs. So this is Dr. Anil Sakria took this picture from Wayanad. So the male is trying to guard this egg. So he tried to catch the frog. So this frog went and bit him. It's actually a big frog. Again, another miniature night frog, the smallest frog in India. It's found in wet leaf litters and wet mosses and all. And there's another few species of night frogs found in Western Ghat. This Nyctipetrachus petraeus found mostly in northern Western Ghat. It's there in Amboli and some Castle Rock and all. It's called Castle Rock night frog. Nyctipetrachus animalensis, which is found in Munnar region and Anomalai Hills and all. It's very small, like a miniature night frog, very tiny, difficult to find it. This Nyctipetrachus minor, which found in again Myristica swamps of southern Western Ghats. This is Nyctipetrachus vasanthi. It's found in Agasthimalai region. Interestingly, most of these night frogs are very difficult to identify in the field. I mean, probably few of these are we will be able to see, especially Nyctipetrachus vasanthi. You can actually see a lot of stripes on all over the body. This is one easy way to you can identify. Otherwise, all of them look alike. It's very difficult to differentiate in the field. Okay, there is another night frog, Nyctipetrachus deccanensis, which found on the high altitude hills in Munnar region. Its belly is orange in color, so that's one of the easy way to you can identify. And this one actually found in marshes. I mean, high altitude swamps and marshes. You can find this frog. A few years back, Dr. Gururaja and team discovered a very interesting breeding behavior of this Kumbara night frog. So after they breed, when the female lays, so the male actually take out some a bit of mud, and they'll mix it and they plaster over the eggs and guard it also there. So just to protect it from any predators. It's amazing. I mean, quite a few Nyctipetrachus frogs have different breeding behaviors. So this was one of the unique breeding behavior. We'll move on to the next. We have another set of amazing frogs. These are called the torrent frogs. Micrysalis found most of the forests in Western Ghats, especially they adapted to the fast flowing running streams. So Micrysalis thampi, which is found in Silent Valley, and Nudis and Sylvaticus, these are all in southern Western Ghats species. Okay, so what happens in Western Ghats? There's a lot of interesting forests. There are also a lot of I mean, forest department or some people who are actually concerned about the forest. They think, let's start make some small check dams to keep some water. So this actually affect a lot of these frogs. This Micrysalis, the moment you start building any kind of small check dams, they'll stop breeding. Probably the entire population of these frogs in that stream will wipe out. So be careful whenever you make a check dam in the middle of the forest. Again, some different species of Micrysalis. This is Micrysalis adonis from Munnar region. This is Micrysalis cotigarensis from Karnataka, Kudramukh and all those Agumbe and all. This is Micrysalis hiri from Ponmudi and Kadal region. This is Micrysalis frigidis from again from Munnar. Again, another group of frogs. These are Spirothecus, the burrowing frog. This frog actually comes out in peak monsoon time. So they'll actually, it's interesting. You don't see this frog probably in the first shower or second shower. When it starts raining heavily, these frogs will come out and breed and they'll disappear. And especially they prefer all small water puddles. There's another burrowing frog. I mean, look at that. It's a round, snout is very round. So look at this one also. The snout is very round. It's one of the peculiar for all these burrowing frogs. We have another group of Microhylas, narrow-mouthed frogs. This is a red narrow-mouthed frog, Microhyla rubra, and ornate narrow-mouthed frog, Microhyla ornata. Then we have another Sholigari narrow-mouthed frog, which found in Mangalore and all those places. And this Sholigari narrow-mouthed frog, it's very tiny. The call sounds like a small cricket or something. It's very difficult to find them among the wet leaves or wet grass. They usually stay there. And there is recently there is another interesting frog being discovered, that is the Mangaluru Mangaluru narrow-mouthed frog. This photo by Shashank Dalvi. This is actually discovered from Mangalore and next to a old wood depot. So when they done the study, they they studied the DNA. When they checked the gene pool, the clade was not was matching with the Indian clade. It was actually closest to a Malaysian species. So then they realized this frog is probably accidentally transported with some wood from Malaysia. They came here, they congregated, and they started colonizing here, and they started breeding there. So there's a small population left in Mangalore. So they discovered and described this as a Mangalore night narrow-mouth frog. So probably the same frog still exists in Malaysia or somewhere. I mean, I'm sure when people do studies later, they'll be able to find out the difference. Again, recently they discovered a new subfamily of frogs from Wayanad region. I mean, Wayanad Hills actually very unique forest there, and a lot of frogs been discovered recently from there, and it's also a lot of frogs are found there. So this is from a hill called Kurichir Mala. From there, they recently described a new species and a new subfamily, new genus frog. It's called a starry dwarf frog, Astrobatrachus kurichiana. It's photo by Dr. K.P. Dinesh. I mean, nothing known about this frog. I mean, we know that it's only exists there. And there are some Ramanella species of frogs, Uperdons. We have quite a few species. This is Jerdon's Ramanella, Uperdon montana. Again, they'll come out in monsoon time. They prefer to breed in tree holes or small water puddles or start in water pools. And these are the other few species found in Western Ghats. Marbled Ramanella mainly found in northern Western Ghats. This triangle Ramanella, that is Uperdon triangularis, which found in Nilgiris and Wayanad and all region. Then variegated Ramanella, which widely distributed in Western Ghats, it's preferred dry habitat, interestingly. And again, Anomaly Ramanella, it's found in southern Western Ghats and also Path. And these are all frogs which you see them in peak monsoon or right after the monsoon time throughout the Western Ghats. Again, another few frogs, which is these frogs, like the marble balloon frog, painted frog, and Indian balloon frog, they prefer the dry areas. So they'll come out after the heavy rains and they'll go under ground. So marble balloon frog, especially if you think about the painted frog, it's widely distributed in India. I mean, people often call it painted kalaula. And this frog, one of the loudest frog in India. Also, they known to breed in dirty water, and I mean they can adapt to if there is no water available. We've seen them breeding in sewage, and they also known to hibernate in peak winter in central India and all. And also they known to climb trees. They can climb the trees even. People have observed them even climbing trees, the coconut trees and all. Again, the Indian balloon frog. When people found that purple frog, the Nasica batrachus, they used to think this is the same like Indian balloon frog. That's why that frog didn't recognize. So eventually people realize it's actually different. So Indian balloon frog also comes out after peak monsoon time, peak rains. Okay, there's another frog recently they discovered from Western Ghats. It's from Wayanad region. It's called Mystisalus franki. I mean, why it's called Mystisalus franki, which is it's actually a mystery frog, which comes out only a day where they breeding time. Imagine if it's raining heavily, they'll come out, breed one day and disappears. Nobody see it. So we are also observe this, we see, and also they known to climb onto small bushes and branches and all. They breed, they call out, they mate, they lay eggs in small water puddles and they disappear. If you go there next day, you will not see it. So they'll all come out. Imagine a frog comes out only one day a year and disappears. After that, nobody see this frog in the wild. So to see that frog again next year, you will have to wait. Okay, again a very, very unique and very interesting frog. It's a black microhylid, Melanobatrachus indicus, which found in Western Ghats. One of the prettiest frog which found in. Look at that color. It's black with a lot of white dots. I remember one of my friend used to call this frog as a starry night frog. I mean, it's look like if you look at go out at the night and look at the stars, it's feel like that. And it's got a lot of orange, reddish spots on the belly. This is very unique frog because most of the frogs. I mean, if you remember when the beginning of the talk I mentioned, most of the frogs they have the vocal sac. They call out for the females, All the males have a vocal sac and they have a tympanum also. Let me go out to next picture. So this frog, see this next to the eyes, there's a large tympanum. This is the ear drum. So interestingly, this microhylid, the black microhylid, don't have a vocal sac and they don't have a tympanum also. So nobody knows how do these frogs breathe. So it will be interesting to find out. And it's a very unique to Western Ghat. Again, another genus of frogs. These are Indirana or Salivocranas. I mean, people do get confused with Fagervaria. So one way to differentiate, they have a large tympanum and the fingers and actually got disc, the very prominent disc for all this. So this is Salivocrana phrynoderma, one of the globally threatened species of frog in Western Ghat. These are some of the Indranas, very difficult to differentiate most of them. Okay, this is from Mangalore. I don't know what it is. This is actually Indrana diplostricta. The one below here, my cursor is, that is Indrana paramacre. This is Indrana leptodactyla from Munnar region. So these are some of the Indranas. I mean, most of these Indranas, they are adapted there to, they lay eggs on the wet rocks or moss and all. So the tadpoles also can survive. They don't need to be in the water. So they can come out in the water and all. So again, a very wide variety of frogs. These are all called the cricket frogs, Minervaria species. They've been dumped into different genuses. It was Fagervarias first, then it was Zacaranas, then again it is back into Minervarias. So most of them don't have a prominent disc, and also under belly they have two black lines, what we call it a Fagervaria line. Very difficult to identify, and what we suspect there could be, many more species will be discovered. So these are few of the Minervaria species: Neelcock's burrowing frog, wide-lipped cricket frogs, Kerala bot frog, granular. So this is a few frogs, Fagervarias or the Minervarias from Western Ghat. Again, Indian skittering frog, widely distributed frog in Western Ghat and throughout India. They breed in stagnant water pools. They breed throughout the year. Another frog recently discovered from Western Ghat. This is called Karavalli skittering frog. The female is large. Look at the size. It's massive. First we thought it could be a green pond frog or something. And the sound of this frog, it's actually like a white-throated kingfisher. Exactly like a white-throated kingfisher. And okay, there's I think most of those who are looked into frogs, you must have seen this frog. It's called Indian bullfrog. It's the most widely distributed frog in Western Ghat, also throughout India. This is the largest frog in India, one of the loudest frog, and also it's probably one of the first frog is going to extinct from India. The few reasons. One is this frog actually breeds only once a year. That to the first rain, they come out in pre-monsoon, they start breeding. Imagine there's a paddy field like that. There are a few 100 frogs here, probably 50, 60 frogs or 100 frog comes out. They'll breed in particular area. And after a week or two, like in May onwards, we'll start getting the rain. So after mid-May, will stop rain. The next proper monsoon may arrive in the mid-June or something. That will actually affect them. Or if we start getting the pre-monsoon like in start of May itself, all the frogs comes out, breed. After that, there's no rain. All the eggs and tadpoles will dry out. All this population will, then they don't breed after that. So entire population will be gone. So this is probably the one of the first frog is going to extinct from India. Again, there's another unique frog in Western Ghats. It's called Jadon's bullfrog. Very difficult to identify from the Indian bullfrog. Only thing what we noticed, they actually, the sound is like a bellowing of a goat. We moved to some golden back frogs. I mean, this is Bolinger's golden back frog, Indo-Silverana aurantica from Trivandrum region. I mean, all these frogs look alike. It's very difficult to identify. So Indo-Silverana is very tricky to identify. I mean, and we have two species of fungoid frog in Western Ghat. One is the fungoid frog, and another one is the widespread fungoid frog. The actual fungoid frog, Hydrophylax malabarica, which found only in the Kerala part of in Western Ghat, but widespread fungoid frog in northern Western Ghat, also in central India, it's found. So, okay, we're moving into a bicolored frog. This is like largely a forest species, widely distributed in Western Ghats, and also they're known to breed in large lakes and all. People have observed hundreds of young ones coming out in monsoon time. There's hundreds of them coming out. A lot of road kills also happened that time. Again, we are moving into some of the toads. This is the most common toad widely distributed in Western Ghats, common Indian toad. Another two toads, that is the small ear toad, Dathaphrynus microtimpanum and Bedom's toad. So the microtimpanum, it's actually a large toad and they don't have a prominent tympanum. And also just below the tympanum, there is a 2-3 prominent tubercles which is pointing out like a spur. So these three spurs, keep a lookout. I mean, that's you can differentiate from common Indian toad and not tympanum prominent. And again, Bedom's toad, it's actually a small toad found in Agastyamalai regions of Western Ghats. It's more reddish in color under the leg and all. They comes out again in pre-monsoon time and they breed. They have a unique breeding behavior. Again, a very unique frog in Western Ghats. This is it's called the forest toad or Dathaphrynus parietalis. Most of the frogs actually breeds in monsoon time or pre-monsoon time. They comes out and breed. But interestingly, this forest toad or Dathaphrynus parietalis breed in peak winter in December, January, and February. They actually found in mid to high altitude, like 800 meters and all, in the forest streams. In peak winter, they'll have a bit of mist and bit of from the mist there'll be a bit of drizzle also. So those kind of habitat they need. So we've been observing all these frogs for quite a few years, especially Dr. Anil. What he said, they almost stopped breeding in monsoon because of the weather pattern is completely changed. I mean, they don't have that peak winter habitat to breed. We have two species of tiger toads in northern Western Ghats. It breeds in laterite plateaus. I mean, this is on the top, which is Xanthophryn tigrine ambolic toad, and this is a Koina the tiger toad. So I still remember when I was trying to photograph with this Saurabh Sawant, my friend. So my camera stopped working the lens, so I got a blurred picture. So this is actually a better picture, the Koina toad. So these are very unique genus. Xanthophryn, only two species are exist in India, and I think it's only two species in the world itself. Yeah. Okay, another interesting genus of torrent toads, two species, Catophrena ornata and Catophrena rubigina. Rubigina is found only in Silent Valley. This is widely distributed in Wayanad region, also in Coorg. Again, we have another unique frog, Malabar tree toad. It's a tree toad, Pidostypes, tuberculosis. They, in the breeding time, again pre-monsoon time, they known to climb onto small trees and bushes and all and breed. And okay, so few things. We come to our end of the talk. Few things. This it's in breeding size. A lot of pesticide we've been using across our Western Ghats. So that's actually causing them a lot of deaths. Then habitat destruction. Convert a lot of our rainforest into plantation. That's actually creating issues. Conversion of grasslands. I mean, whenever there is grassland, people want to plant trees, even that. Plantation, if you at the moment the frogs actually breed, so the moment we stopping in any kind of pesticide, then population can out. So many species of frogs are disappearing from the globe since last few decades. This is actually a classic example of golden toads. I mean, so we are all these days locked up in our houses, isn't it? We can't go out because of one virus. I mean, COVID-19 or Corona. This is actually the frogs been indicating us to many years back. All these frogs, these frogs around around 1 million years ago, survived around 5 extinction. The last extinction happened 62 million years ago, where all the dinosaurs wiped out. So most of these frogs are survived. They survived ice ages. But past 30 years, around 40% of amphibian population is already gone because of one fungus. It's called the chytrid fungus. So they can't survive. So they survived the greatest extinction, but now they can't live. So the frogs are actually telling us, guys, there's something serious happening to the world. I mean, be careful. We can't live. So this is one of the greatest example. I mean, we have to go back to the basics. Okay, I think I took a lot of time. Thank you very much. If you all have any questions, you can come to the chat box. Narayan, how do you Tipitrachus grandis female eggs on the roof of the rock? Narayana is asking. Okay, Nara, the thing is, it's interesting. They actually stand their front legs and lay eggs. In which part of the Western Ghats do we find black macrohylid? Okay, black macrohylid are found in mostly in southern Western Ghats, south of Palghat Gap and all. They are known to lay under the state.
It seems that David's internet connection has gone. Maybe we'll wait as he has come back.
Problem with electricity and sir, can you read out any questions because I'm not able to. My chat box also disappeared. I can't see any questions here. Or if those who are there, if you can ask the question again, I'll try to answer it.
Then somebody has asked for how you named these frogs.
Okay, how do we name the frog? I think. Okay, so there is a few things. First of all, for naming any frog, you need to have a proper type specimen and a paratype frog. You need to have at least one or two specimens. So the specimen are deposited in National Museum and all, and you have to write a proper scientific peer review article, and experts review, and eventually it will get published. So it's up to the author. So what name to be chosen. So we name quite a few species after some of the conservationists and all, but it's up to the author what they want to decide. There is no such criteria. You have to follow it. So whoever write the paper, they have the authority to choose it. Any other question?
Another question: how you take the pictures of these frogs?
Okay, so pictures of the frogs. Most of the frogs, I mean, you have to go out in the field. I mean, you have to. Most of the time, we have to use a flash. I mean, we do use the filters and diffusers to avoid the harsh light into the frogs.
What about their hibernation?
Okay, most of the Western Ghats frogs, they may not hibernate unless if they are in high altitude species, they go. But in central India and all, when if it's get really cold, we've seen frogs are going into hibernation, like painted frog and all. They're getting into the tree holes, and otherwise they'll just hide their frogs. Any more questions?
Your audio is in failure, I think.
Can you hear me, sir?
No, I can hear you, but
Okay.
it breaks in between.
Oh yeah, sorry, sir.
And you put your email ID so that they can contact you directly. I think
Okay.
so.
Any other questions? Okay, so there's a question from Ramchi. Are there any poisonous frogs like this used in South America? No, there is no poisonous frogs in India. how do we differentiate a frog from toad? I think Ramji already explained it. Frogs are moist skin, wet and moist skin, and toads are dry and warty skin, and also they got a parotoid gland.
How do they select a mate?
Okay, that is actually a tricky question to answer. Most of the time, what we notice, a female can actually, male actually call out for the female. They'll be calling. So I think female have a sense of the best caller, who is the best, strongest male in that group. So we've seen that she actually approached towards that female. But quite a lot of times, so in frog world, most of the number of the males are in abundant, females are very few. So the moment one female try to approach it, the other males also try to grab her. So literally, the female want to get into one frog, she may not able to get to that male. She may be ended up with some other males also.
Josna is asking whether they breed in some other type other than Mansu.
Yeah, Josna, see, like in all the tree frogs or the gliding frogs, Malabar gliding frog, we have observed they breed throughout the year whenever there is heavy rain. Sometimes we get some rain, and all the skittering frogs, they breed throughout the year. And like I mentioned, the forest toad actually breed in winter. So these are some exceptions.
Goswami has asked whether what are the leaf litter occurrence from Western Ghats?
Oh, there's a lot of leaf litter species, especially all those Fagervarias like Minervarias, they prefer that, and all these miniature knife frogs, and quite a few Nyctibatrachus species, they among the leaf litters, and uh, there is there's few bush frogs also, they prefer staying in the leaf litters.
Then some details about your field guide book for reference.
Okay, there is one book on amphibians of Western Ghat by Dr. K.V. Gururaja. So that is only one is available now. We've been working in one. I mean, there's quite a few people I know. There is at least 2-3 more books are coming out soon. We know the news. Us also, we are also working on a South Indian book. So hopefully it will be out soon. So at least there's 3 books are going to come out soon on frogs of Western Ghat. And okay, there's a question from Rajesh Krishnan. Are you missing any species which you have not been able to see through recorded before? Are you missing any species?
Anyway, we'll be finding out few species. Last
yeah.
10 years,
People have
I
been
think.
reporting. There's a lot of species yet to be discovered, but most of the species, I think, there's quite a few species are yet to be rediscovered also. I mean, especially some Sicilians and all is yet to be found. Okay. Any other questions?
I think anyway, there seems to be no more questions.
Yeah, I think any other questions, guys? Okay, somebody is asking from Facebook, how many years you've been researching? Okay, it is actually not my research. I'm just a naturalist. I accompany Dr. Anil Sakaria and Robin Kurian Abraham and all. So this is out of interest. I do it. I mean, this is I don't do proper research work on fraud. This is actually I get an opportunity. We have a nice team, so I'm part of the team. So I love to go out in the field. So I think past 12, 13 years I've been out in the field with the Dr. Anil and team. So yeah. Any other questions, sir? if you have any more questions, probably you can write to me. So I'll, whatever I know, I'm happy to answer it.
If no more questions, we will conclude the session.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.